any questions they have on this Ohio Edison agreement.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll put them above the, I'll put them before the village administrator's report. All right.
Okay.
Michelle, are we live? I have 6.
Yes, you are.
Okay. I will call this meeting to order at 6 o'clock. Roll call, please.
Scott Weaver,
Here.
Matt Rosalowski,
Here.
Heather Paisley. Here.
And can I have an approval of the minutes from March, please? Did everyone get a chance to read?
Yes.
Okay. Heather, did you get a chance to read them?
I did, yeah.
Okay. Matt, did you make that motion?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I will.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Okay, well then let's move on to Phil.
Okay, well, there were 3 things we wanted to talk about. Just one, I think is pretty easy, was that phase 3 of Buca Park. Mayor said that was approved and that DMRC had committed $22,000, and that, that is still earmarked. We have those funds available and earmarked for that. The second one was, we want to talk about the Ohio Edison, that banner agreement. Just had some questions on what they had proposed. And then the third was, I was made aware through Tim Robinson, who is a program administrator through ODNR, that there is a grant available to put restrooms down at the park. It would be due, the grant application, they would cover 75% of the cost of for the restrooms. But it has to be turned in by June 1st. So it's coming up fast. And I just want to see if that was something we should pursue through this group, if that was something, or if there was other grants that you felt were more necessary at this point. So I guess, going to the Ohio Edison banner agreement, I did get a chance to read through it. I know Tom read through it and Ted read through it. The first question is this kind of a boilerplate? Does every municipality sign off on something like this?
Michelle, do you want to? Oh, go ahead, Mayor. I'm sorry.
At this time, no, they're not, but they will be going to every community. What happened was there was one community that had flags or something that in a strong storm blew up and took out the transformer, and their whole community was without power. And I don't know how long ago this was, but so they are instituting this, that we have to have insurance, that if something that we have put on their poles, that we would be responsible. Now, Rootstown Township just signed they did not sign it. The trustees did not sign it. The Lions Club signed the agreement with Ohio Edison on it, so that they could continue to do their flags and banners and such on the poles.
Was it as is, or did they? I guess the one thing that's making us nervous is the damages and liabilities. Part of it, I guess, is it, if they're going to come after this group for damages and liabilities, and as I read it, it was lost production. It can get expensive fast.
Michelle, you want to explain it better than me?
Well, all I can tell you, Phil, is that we've already approached them to take out just one provision regarding indemnification, and they won't budge on any language. So it is boilerplate. They are completely inflexible. The village can't sign it because of the indemnification clause, even though they have the insurance clauses and all of the other protections, name them as an additional insured and so forth, which I think we would have been happy to do. But since we can't indemnify them, that's why we're having this discussion with DMRC.
Why would they send it to the villages if they understand the villages can't sign it?
I'm not sure they did understand it until we brought it to their attention.
Okay, well, I guess, we'd rather pursue alternatives to see, what else could we do, or rather than sign into this without understanding exactly, what we're liable for. So I guess we're going to do a little bit more spade work, maybe get some legal advice on our own before we sign this. And we understand that, nothing can be hung, and, it's unfortunate, but it's a little much, because I'm just thinking from Compass Packaging's perspective, is if we lost power and DMRC had to pay Compass Packaging for lost time and wages, it would add up just for us and be really expensive. So I guess, Tom, did you have any, or Ted, did you have any other questions for clarification for us?
I think the question I was going to ask was exactly what Michelle already answered, was why the village wouldn't sign it. And it just sort of makes me wonder why I should sign it, or why DMRC should sign it if the village can't see clear to signing it. So, yeah, we're going to get some legal advice on it and see what they say. And Ted, did you have anything else?
I do have a question regarding Rootstown. Do we know that the Lions Club, I believe you said it was, who signed this? My first understanding would be that they signed an agreement so they could put their own promotional materials on the poles. Is this agreement that the Lions Club has signed supposed to cover whatever government that is for their own flags and baskets and so on?
That's the way it was explained to us from Lisa.
Yeah.
That because the village, the township couldn't sign it, that the Lions Club stepped up to the plate. I had reached out to the trustee and have not heard back from them. So.
Is this some sort of statute prohibition, or is it because we don't have the right kind of coverage that the village can't sign it?
It's a statutory prohibition. Basically, we can't. That's the short answer. Do you want me to explain it?
Good enough. One piece of new information, you mentioned that this is relatively new, so Ohio Ed is probably learning some things as well about what they can and cannot ask us to do. But I'm in agreement with Tom and Phil. We're going to have a lawyer look at it, and I don't know that we would go forward with this. We'll have to wait and see. But right now, I would say we wouldn't be wanting to sign it today.
Oh, we totally understand. I mean, I was surprised when Edie told me to send her the agreement. When we were talking about it, because her and I were exchanging emails about what a crock we basically thought that this was, but it is what it is. And I'm
glad we had a look at it, but yeah,
right.
I don't know where this is.
So she said, oh, well, we could probably do that. I said, no, let me send it to you so you guys can read it. We have still have not heard back from Ohio Edison, because we had to send our service people out, and they had any pole that had a flag holder, a banner holder, or a wreath holder, all had to be documented and put down, and they were going to come out and inspect those, because they also, when you read the agreement, they have certain ways that things have to be attached.
Right.
So
now, is it clear to us yet that they're going to come out and inspect the attachments, and if those are approved, you can put the flags and/or baskets up after that without an agreement? Probably not.
No. We'd still have to have the agreement.
And One other question was, I know DMRC has some liability insurance, but I'm not sure it necessarily covers this stuff. Does the village have insurance that covers it that we could cite in this so that like we're not responsible for a big insurance bill that already is being paid?
I think the contracting party is the one that has to carry the insurance. I don't think we can insure the DMRC.
Oh, well, I was thinking that the village already had insurance for
You were thinking of a rider or something?
a second policy to add on to it. Seems like double the insurance.
Well, the issue here is the indemnity, not the insurance coverage.
Yeah. Well, I think what's going to be interesting is seeing what some of the other communities do. You know, is if they're going to sign off or if they come up with creative ways to get their whatever promotional, if it's going to be Art on the Hill or Potato Festival, get that stuff, promoted in another way. See how some of these other communities deal with it. Unfortunately, it sounds like we're one of the beta tests here. So, I think it's just prudent to go slowly with this.
Oh, absolutely.
Has anyone reached out to St. Joe's and Oxford yet?
No.
I will see John Cruz on Thursday morning, most likely, and I can ask him if he's heard of this and kind of give him a heads up, because as I recall, I'm not certain, but I do believe they do put stuff up on utility poles as well.
Well, what put us on their radar was one of our residents contacted them
I
to
heard.
put a flag on the pole in front of his house.
Yeah.
And when they told him no, he says, well, we have flags and banners, flower baskets, and ding, 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 ding.
And it cascaded, didn't it?
Yes.
It did.
Well, I know we're going to get our legal opinion, but in the interim, I think the board is, and the officers, I don't want to speak for them, but I believe the thought is now that we're not going to hang anything at all until this is cleared up.
Yeah, I don't think we can,
No.
the way it reads.
Yeah, I have too much respect for the people that have donated their money to us to.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Just a quick question. Why do you think that the Lions Club was so willing to sign the agreement? Do they carry just insurance that they're not worried about that type of thing, or?
I don't know. That's why I wanted to talk to the
Yeah.
trustee, because the trustee was also one of the Lions.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I will continue to try and reach out to him. It's just that
Is it possible that they didn't understand their liability?
That's what I was thinking.
I don't
Is the
know.
Lions,
Yeah.
is the Lion Club a, what do you call those? I can't think of the right word. Like you can't, they're a nonprofit or something, like they can't.
Yeah.
501(c) or yeah.
I just didn't know if maybe they figured that like if you sue them, there's nobody there. Like you could, what are you going to take
Yeah.
from them? I mean, it's more of a group of people versus you guys are actually businesses and obviously the village as well.
I don't believe being a 501(c) indemnifies you from being sued and losing.
Yeah.
That's why we have liability insurance. And we do have assets, by the way. We're more than just people. We've
Right.
got funds in the bank that we distribute and we collect. And as Two Months correctly pointed out, we don't want to be irresponsible with those donations.
But I mean, like the Lions Club, like for example, maybe I'm confusing that with something like another type of club that they don't really have quote unquote assets, meaning it's more of a group of people, not you guys. I mean, that's what I'm saying. You guys have your businesses and everything else. Maybe with the Lions Club, isn't that more of a gathering of people? Like, and I'm not familiar with them, but do they have
They're a
assets?
worldwide organization that probably has a lot of rules and stuff that they have to abide by. And the DMRC is standalone and next to the village. The Lions Club is a worldwide organization that probably has its own lawyers and so on.
Yes, true too.
And maybe that's why the Lions were able to.
Right.
I mean, maybe if I can get a hold of this guy,
Yeah.
maybe our Lions Club in our area, because they're affiliated with the worldwide one, maybe,
Yeah.
like I say,
Another avenue to pursue.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we've been talking with Lisa since last June or July, trying to come
Yeah,
up with
it
a
was-
solution, so,
Right.
It was
Yeah.
last June.
yeah.
Was that the time that I know the DMRC had some of those vertical landscape symbol banners on a couple of poles. Is that when and why those came down?
Once they had told us that, we weren't allowing anything else to go up. I mean,
Oh.
we kept the hanging baskets up,
Right, they were already out.
and my service, or I can't remember who voted that we were gonna go ahead and do the Christmas wreath one last year and
I
ask
said
for
we would ask
forgiveness
for
if we had
forgiveness
to.
if they,
Yeah, yeah.
But
Well, you could claim what's that phrase that I used with Tom yesterday? An easement, I suppose, but that would have to be ironed out and maybe argued in court and yada yada yada. Since you've been doing it.
right.
Hmm.
But I do appreciate the DMRC trying to come up with some other creative ideas for the baskets and such, but
Yeah, I think that's gonna be
Already talked about it, the
another
big
avenue.
business owners to volunteer to
Yeah.
have them hang off their storefronts and things like
Right.
that.
mhm.
One other alternative that we talked about a couple of years ago was we could put up our own poles, the village and the DMRC at some point, if we really get a hard stop with the Ohio Ed on this. Put up our own poles for banners, across the street banners and so on. Something to explore.
Well, thank you for your time on that. It was, like I said, I did get contacted by that Tim Robinson for the Nature Works. It's got to be postmarked by June 1st. Is there any?
I cannot make any promises. Right now, we still have about $25,000 from Bookert Park Phase 2 that we have to get done. So we had to certify that we had the funds for that. We also, if we're approved for the paddling enhancement grant, that's almost 50,000 that the village has to certify that we have funds for. And then Bookert Park Phase 3, once it goes to council, we'll have to certify that we have the $87,000. All of these are reimbursable grants, so the village has to pony up the money up front and pay for them. And until the projects are done, I mean, Bookert Park Phase 2 should have been done last year, but all the complications and things that happened with that, it didn't get finished, and we're struggling to try and get that done, hopefully before June. So,
Okay.
so I don't know if my council is going to want to certify $150,000 on grants for down at the park at this point.
Okay.
So I don't know. That's council's decision once it's all explained to them.
Phil, what did you say his name was? Robinson? Tim Robinson?
Tim Robinson, that's who I speak with.
Okay.
Yeah, Tim Robinson. We just wanted to make sure if we were going to pursue a grant, it was still, it would cover restrooms. And so he did send us the application that would cover restrooms down at
Well,
the
I
park.
think it has to be an RTP, not a Nature Works. That's one of the problems we ran into with the Phase 2 is it was a Nature Works grant that, and we were trying to do things on it that were recreational trail. So those are things we're gonna have to look at to make sure what's covered.
What he sent me was a Nature Works application for development projects. And the very first thing it covers is restrooms. So that was what I was afraid of. I didn't want to start going down a road and doing an application and have them say, this doesn't cover what you want it to cover. So he said this one that he sent me, and he said there is another one that you could apply for in the fall. So, you know, we can, and it sounds like this one rolls up every June.
It does. The Nature Works and the RTP are every year.
Okay.
And then just something else to keep in mind too, as we talk about restrooms down at the park, there's a service committee and service department conversation that needs to take place too, because we need service employees to maintain those bathrooms too. So that's going to have to be something that we kind of hash out as well too. So just something to keep in mind.
That's always been our big sticking point, is maintaining
Yeah,
those.
I think that came up when we were talking about this, and we've been kicking around some creative ideas of how we can, use, Ellie Stahl and I were talking about is if we contract with a cleaning company, that part of the contract is they also work the restrooms down at the park during the peak season, from early spring to late fall, is that would be part of a donation, a private donation, so that service isn't really involved in it. We're trying to do something like that.
Cool. And then just
We get tight, things are tight.
Yeah. And just other food for thought, just because I think back on election day when the porta potty down there got tipped over, security, maybe think about putting a camera on the entrance or something like that, just to see what goes on out, kind of thing.
Well, we are, and Tim Robinson approved cameras, additional cameras for the phase 2 Bookert Park.
Fantastic.
That's all we had, guys. That, at least from my end. Ted, Tom, did you have anything else?
I have nothing else. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Same
you.
here, nothing else, and nice to see you all again. Cheers.
You as well. Thanks for showing up.
Thanks for your
Thanks,
time.
appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. Village Administrators Report.
Okay, so I originally started on March 22nd. So I have taken time to get the phones and the email situated, and I'm still monitoring 2 email accounts, but not 2 phones, so that's good. Still working on getting the office how I need it. The mayor is helping go through papers in John's office. Had a meeting with Tammy and Jenny to go over the budget and to understand the ins and outs of how to monitor that. Attended virtual meetings with the Cuyahoga River Water Trail with the Headwaters collaboration, and I was also in the meeting with the mayor and Michelle for Ohio Edison. I met Chris DeLuca at CT, and we will be tracking the prevailing wages for the West Prospect project. The mayor and I met with Dean Olson from the Rotary about the plans for the volleyball area, and I sent quotes for pads. I attended the cemetery board meeting. I'm still answering questions from the county about the water and sewer account. Our water and sewer are being audited for 2019, 2020 right now. And I had to get together information and answer questions from the auditor. She is not done yet that I'm aware. I scheduled Rapid Electric to come out and make electric repairs to the basketball lights and other conduits around Booker Park. Hopefully they'll be finishing up tomorrow. I worked on the Arbor Day essay contest, getting forms and certificates ready. Got tree quotes and wrote 2 letters to residents about tree removal. Finished the risk management report. Answering zoning questions throughout the 2 weeks and working on 2 open applications. I had last week an insurance claim of a hot water heater in the village hall leaked. Went down into the police station in the hallway, utility closet, and weapons room. So worked with the claims adjuster on that. It's still being dried out. They're hoping it will be dry tomorrow. I started meeting with Dave once a week. We meet at 6:30 in the morning. And the first week I passed out updated employee handbooks and had all the employees sign off. They had made changes since we got rid of the water and sewer. Went over what the service department does on a seasonal basis. Asked Dave what he thought the job responsibilities of the department were, so we would all be on the same page. when service wants to do something that's not a normal, maintenance issue, we should get an estimate of time and material before we consider doing any of the projects. Every week, we go over all the open work orders, and Dave went over any concerns that he had in the village. Since the last service meeting, the service department has been very busy. And so they put the blanks in the breaker box. They installed no parking signs at the police station, placed 2 handicap parking signs on the Potato Festival shed, fixed the storm sewer at 10934 Ambler Lane. Liz documented and took pictures of all the Ohio Edison poles, installed new water meters at the service garage, lodge, and cemetery, ordered and picked up hardware for snow plows, repaired and painted interior walls of the service garage, put in new stairs that were a safety issue at the service garage. Paul repaired the white pickup truck and in order to pass E-check, and it passed E-check. Cold patched potholes on Ambler Peck Prospect on the west side of the village. We did the risk management repairs for the mulch under the merry-go-round. Repairs to the pavilion close to Mantua line. We have that figured out on how we're gonna do that and how much it will cost. We replaced the broken pieces on the playground equipment, and we fixed the facade on the shed. That was all for risk management. They cut and cap water lines at the curb stop by the southwest backstop ball field. They pulled out the hydrant on east end of Buckeye Pipeline property. Replaced a total of 7 delineators and 2 bases on Mill Street next to McDonald's. Moved John True's computer and CAD file cabinet and table down to the downstairs office. Installed a door on the inside of the mailboxes to block the draft for me. Met with Seal Master about crack and seal, which I want to talk about later. Took down a dead tree at the cemetery. They checked the crosswalk for unusual unevenness or potholes of the crosswalk that goes across the street on West High by Suds Your Duds. We had a complaint, but we couldn't find any issue. Repaired and removed graffiti and sealed the wood picnic tables. Also removed graffiti on a bridge, I believe. Backfilled and level 2 graves, filled in lower spots, older sunken graves with fill. Cleaned and painted and installed the grills at Booker Park. 22 benches have been painted, sealed, and wood slats completely replaced, new hardware. Relocated the fire extinguisher in my office. Took out the cemetery desk in my office. And they also did the, there was some drywall work they had to get done in the lodge when the plumber went in to put in the plumbing for the touchless. They put a giant gaping hole in it, so they had to re-drywall, and they actually painted the main room of the lodge. It looks really nice.
Oh, good.
So when the service department comes back, I had talked to them. If you guys ever have an opportunity to go down to the service garage, you should go and see how nice it is looking. And while you are there, you can look at the outside of the building, because that is one of the other things I have a whole little list of things that I'd like to bring up for consideration. We don't have to talk in depth about this stuff tonight, but just to think about it.
Okay.
One of them is a capital funds for things like fixing the building at the service garage. The bricks are falling out. Capital funds for vehicle and equipment replacement. When I was talking to Jenny about the budget, it doesn't seem that there's anything in there. Not that we could magically put that in there, but I think we do need to come up with some sort of a plan for something. I'd like to have you guys think about how we want the employees to record their time. I know time clock is a hot word not to say, and I just said it. So maybe not a time clock, but something else or not. I was hoping that there would be no objection from the service committee here that the mayor move her office downstairs. It would make the mayor and my life much easier, and Jenny's on board with that. And I want to recommend that Dan Wazinski for the doing the brick on the time capsule for $5,200. The other quote we received was for $5,600. And then the last thing I want to talk about is the crack and tar fill program that we want to possibly try. So there you go.
Hey, when you
That's
get the
a lot to digest.
opportunity,
What?
what'd you say, Matt? I didn't hear
I
you.
said that's a lot to digest.
It
Sorry.
sure is.
It's a great report. That was
Oh,
fantastic.
it was an awesome report.
Sorry. I'm also next month, I'm gonna have a wish list of those big high dollar items that we want to talk about capital projects to do. I'm gonna have a wish list with, well, I hope to, unless we have, insurance claims and other things happening, but with dollar amounts on them. So, we can
Okay.
try and prioritize and decide, oh, this is important or this is not important.
Yeah.
When you do that, can you,
Mhm.
you said that you asked Dave for a list of, or Dave gave you a list of things that he felt needed to be done in the village. Can you incorporate that into your list? I'm just
Oh, yeah,
curious.
we will work on that list together. I mean,
Okay,
Dave is a main component in that list.
okay. I
Yeah.
just want to see what he feels.
Because we
needs to be done.
talk about that in our weekly meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, that was great. Great report. Thank you.
Yeah. Two quick things then before we get into the other stuff like the crack seal and that. One, I did go down there, down to the garage or the service department, maybe like a month and a half ago, and it does look great down there. It's fantastic down there. The new steps that go upstairs look great. I mean, it's very neat, very organized. Everything's great. It looks nice down there for sure. I don't know. What's my other thing?
It's old
Forgot.
age, Matt.
Yeah, I know it is old age. Yeah. Yeah. I forgot what my other thing was. I'll come back to it though.
Okay, well, while we're on the subject, you want to talk about the tar and seal, the crack seal?
Yeah, so I was absent on this day because I had a reaction to my COVID shot.
Ooh.
But Dave met with this company that has been coming, he said has been coming down there every year, Seal Master. And it's where you blow out the crack and you put the hot tar in, and you put the longevity on the of the roads. I'm going to read Dave's email here. He said he feels that this is viable and necessary annual maintenance item that should be considered for extending the life of our existing asphalt pavement. Water along with infiltration, freezing, thawing is a major factor in asphalt degradation. Sealing these cracks with this product will limit water infiltration and prolong the asphalt roadway investment. He feels that we should concentrate on asphalt that has been paved in the last 7 years. So, not stuff that's obviously too far gone. This includes, he thought cemetery, it would also include the cemetery. He recommends getting 2 pallets of 4,800 pounds. Now, one of the biggest concerns that I had is the amount of people you would need to be out on the road for traffic control, safety, and it looks like the minimum they would need is 4 people, which is everybody there. So
Right.
everybody had to be there in order to do this. So that could be an issue with 2 part-time employees. We just have to make sure when we get the machine that they're scheduled and will be there. At times when you're over a crest of a hill, you're going to need a 5th person. I talked to the chief already, and I printed out a ODOT. ODOT has all kinds of safety issues, safety guidelines here, and I printed it out, took it over to the chief and talked to him about it. And he thought it was we could do it. We might need a police once in a while to help, but I mean, we would definitely need a plan, for efficiency, on what roads to do next. We would definitely come up with that plan before we just went willy-nilly and did anything.
Okay.
I think there's value in that. Really. I'll take my street, for example, Woodford. It was paved 3 years ago or something like that. And it's still in great shape. But you can see there's a few cracks in the road. And then, say it rains or whatever, the road dries and everything's dry. You'll still see that crack in the road there. And you can still see it's moist. And it's like that for a half a day. I just think that
Yeah.
moisture is sitting there. And totally, I can't disagree. It sits in there, it freezes, it breaks the road apart. So if you catch it soon enough, you got a chance at preserving the road for longer. And again, I'll just use my street as the example. It just got done 3 years ago. They're not going to come around to it again for another 20, 25 years or whatever, maybe if that, so whatever we could do to preserve the roads that we have done, I think it's a great idea.
Right.
And just, in regards to the personnel, yeah, the stars got to line up for a day, but it's just a
Or
day.
longer.
You
It
know,
would be
we're-
long, it would be longer than a day.
yeah,
Yeah.
but a period, a short period, but you said it's a machine that you rent. Did I hear that
Well,
correctly?
you don't rent it. Okay, so like for the amount of pounds that Dave is just talking about, it would be around $3,000. That includes the machine. The material lasts for 4 years. So if, I have not had a chance to go over with Dave or talk to Steelmaster or figure out what 4,800 pounds with that, how much, I guess, how many linear feet is that? But it also depends on the weather. Because if it's colder, you're gonna get more, you want to do it when it's a little colder because more material goes down in those cracks and it seals it better, versus when it's warmer. So, but your material will go farther. I mean, so there's a lot of variables in there. So I don't know how far 4,800 pounds is gonna, I haven't talked to Steelmaster. I haven't, I don't know how many linear feet that does,
So
Question, I'm
oh,
sorry.
go ahead, Linda.
The question that I have is when they loan us or let us use the heating machine in Juan that does that work, how many days are we given that for? I mean, I'm sure they're not going to just say, take it and bring it back whenever you want. So I would want to know what kind of schedule we would have to set up, whether it would be a couple
Okay.
days at a time or a week at a time and then return it and get it back again. Those are concerns I have when they're going to let you use the machine.
Are they letting you use it for free or you're paying the $3,000 a day?
No, the $3,000 is for the material and the machine really isn't for free because you're paying $3,000 for the material.
Right.
Oh, I see. When you buy the material, they kind of give you the machine to use
Yes.
with it.
To
And I will
use.
find out what kind of schedule, that's a good question, Mayor, what kind of schedule the machine can do.
Yeah.
How they loan that out.
Also, too, let's take inventory of what streets, would be applicable.
We definitely need to know what streets we're going to do. Yes.
I was just
In
gonna
what
say
order?
that we need the,
Not let somebody just decide, well, today I'm going to go do this street.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because just off the top of it, we got Prospect, Woodford,
Park,
Walnut's pretty recent. Walnut was done a few years ago.
Reservoir.
Reservoir, yeah, Reservoir. So there's a few streets.
Yeah. I mean, there's some,
Bramley.
yeah,
Yeah.
Bramley.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
No,
some
what-
big ones that,
We would definitely have a plan and a plan of attack that would hopefully be the most efficient way we could do it.
right.
Yeah.
So we would let you
I
know.
would say either start at the south end of town or the north end of town. And street by street, something like that.
Right.
Does
Or
that include
west to east, something?
does that include an air compressor? Do you
I
have an air
believe it
compressor?
includes everything you need other than your people and your truck to pull it probably.
Because I don't do, I mean, me personally, I don't obviously do that work, but I'm trying to remember, like, when I see that work, when I'm like driving down the street and stuff, a lot of times I think they have two crews. Well, I say two crews, but like one truck pulling an air compressor and they have the guy literally like, blowing it out because you have to clean out the cracks.
Right.
And then
Right.
following up is another truck pulling the machine that's got the hot tar in there that is pouring it. And then they have a person finally get a third vehicle sometimes with a sand. Well, I call
They
it
don't do
sand, but
sand. They don't do sand on this high temp stuff. It dries within minutes. Everything will be
Oh,
dry
good.
within 10 minutes.
Oh,
I think, I'm not sure, but I think the air compressor must be part of the whole machine. I have to find out all
Oh.
the particulars. Like I said, I missed that meeting, so I couldn't be there. But I will definitely talk to them about that.
Okay.
But yeah, I asked about the sand, and the sand is not, and if you need another vehicle, I mean, if you need somebody, I mean, I can drive a vehicle behind them, or, you know, and not hit them. I'm capable of doing that. So if they need a fifth person, you know, I could be doing that. So, and be willing to do that. So
okay.
it would save the village a lot of, I mean, asphalt's expensive.
Yeah.
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 And then you could also do not just the cracks for the pavement itself, but in areas where you have asphalt that adjoins to the concrete curbs, you need to do at the curb, you do that as well. Because that is the most easily water infiltrated in, because it runs and hits the curb and then it goes down.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so I will get all these information out to answer all these questions, and if I'll try and get it as soon as I can, and if I do, I'll email it out.
Okay.
Yep. And I'll tell you what too, I'll be with the trustees from Mantua and Shalersville on Monday at the fire department. I know Frank from Shalersville was just talking recently about crack seal and chip and seal and stuff like that. Just don't want crack seal. So I'll pick his brain just about any thoughts or experiences that he's had over there with that stuff. So
Okay. All
Well,
right.
Dave told me that him and Vern have both done this before in other places of employment.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
yeah. Oh, that was the other question. Is there any type of certification or training that comes with that they have to do, like mandatory?
no,
It's just knowing how to work the machine and fill cracks.
I'm sure they sit there and go, this is how you work the machine. You blow out the crack, you put the tar
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, it was just some kind of ODOT.
Don't go 25 miles an hour down the road.
Yeah, sure. All right, cool.
All right. Well, yeah, I would like to know how far $3,000 goes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but that sounds very reasonable if it'll put a big dent in it.
Yeah.
All
All
right.
right. Anybody have a problem with the mayor moving downstairs?
No,
Not at all.
not at all.
I'll help move the office down
John's
will?
raising,
I was
John's
gonna take you
raising
up
his
on that,
hand.
Matt.
there. Yeah.
You'll help,
John, your
really?
husband?
And then the Dan Waziski for the brick time capsule. I don't know if we have to, since it's over the $3,000 limit, Mayor, I don't know what to do here.
We can do it one of two ways. You can get council to move it forward to, or service move it to council for approval. I don't know if we need legislation on that. I think we can do that by motion. If we think that it's an emergency, or service thinks it's an emergency, to get it done, so we can have one thing accomplished for risk management by April 15th.
This was for risk management.
So we know that we had said that we would take the money for the time capsule repair or replacement out of that. I think it's called a park capital fund that John True or Bruce Reniger had set up $8,700 or $8,500. We've taken 1,000 of that already for Brian Rogers on Bookert Park Phase 2. So that's leaving us about 7. So we'd take 52 to pay for this out of that for risk management.
We need to get this done before the 15th, or you just want to get it done?
We have to have a plan in place that Mary Ann has to send to them on giving them the dates and the times and such of when we're going to have it done. I just thought it would be nice to be able to have something done, but it doesn't have to be done. It could be approved at council, and that'll give Dan time to order his materials and stuff.
Well,
The council can approve a work order or a work authorization then.
if we have the funds in this park fund, does it need to go to council or can we approve it?
It's
Tonight.
over 3,000, so it still has to
Okay,
go before
all right.
council.
Okay,
I just wasn't sure if it needed legislation.
okay. Well, then I'll make the motion to move it to council.
Second.
All ayes? All ayes.
Mayor, quick question. Was that for the thin brick veneer or is that a redo?
It's
I have
for
a-
the, it's to put the veneer on it
Okay,
and put the new limestone
New
top caps
capstones.
on it and the stainless steel stuff.
okay.
Mary Ann, can you make sure that makes it into the council packet, the estimate?
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Is Dan someone we've used before?
Dan works for Manaway Township.
Oh, okay.
It's a daytime job, so this would be a weekend job that he would do. He does these kind of things on the weekend. And so
Okay.
he's got a crew of people. But yes, he has helped us out.
Yeah, he's
He
come
helped
to,
us out with curbs on Woodford. He's also done one of our catch basins, I guess, is the one that's up at the corner of Prospect and High Street, there by the bottom of the hill by Roger Hawkins. He rebuilt that for us. So
Okay.
So the time capsule is made out of the same brick that the service garage is made out of. Just so you are aware,
okay,
that's the similar problems we're having at the service garage.
right.
So,
it's an old type of brick that was used back. It might even be Manaway brick. I'm not even certain, but it's something that should be sealed periodically, and it's never been sealed. That was one of my issues with using the little office building down at the service garage, because it's like that on the outside. And until we sealed the outside to keep the dampness from going in and molding the drywall that they would hang, remember we've put a hold on that building
Yeah,
indefinitely.
for a
So,
lot of reasons.
yes.
Okay.
How old's the time capsule? How long has it been?
Oh,
My whole life, Matt. I don't
yeah.
Yeah, are we talking like a long time?
know. I'm
Yeah.
gonna say maybe 30, 40 years. I don't remember.
I thought they put it in when the village had its centennial.
Okay, that would have been in the 70s, right?
No, it was 98.
Oh, all right. What do I know?
I'm not sure. That's what I thought.
It used to have a plaque on it. The plaque has disappeared.
Yeah, okay. Because I'm thinking it was built like made of the same brick as a service garage. How old is this?
Yeah.
It was brick that they had from somewhere.
Yeah, so just sitting around, sure.
the,
Yep.
the time capsule's in a cylinder thing, which actually has newer brick on it. The wall that's in front of it is what we're having redone.
Yeah,
And the wall is what's falling apart.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
the other things that were on there was, the capital funds and the employee recording their, the times.
So the capital funds, I think that's a good idea to plan budgeting for.
mhm. Oh, yeah, I do too.
I mean, I don't know if you want to necessarily wait for specific items or just plan on, let's start a budget for it and move forward with that, or
And I don't know how to go about doing that.
Probably what we could do is when we have our budget hearing this year, someone recommend to the clerk that we add a service capital improvement that would cover truck, the backhoe, any kind of equipment that we might need to be replacing, and start putting X amount of dollars in it
yeah.
a month or a year or whatever.
And do we have capital improvement for our buildings in the village? You know, because we own, you know, the service garage and the village, no. So maybe that's something else too. Hello?
What?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Agreed.
okay.
And the budget, you just did the budget, so we're gonna have to wait basically a year before we
No,
can.
no.
Okay.
We have not done the budget yet.
Oh,
I
okay.
have, but Jenny and I have worked on it. Mary Ann has gone over it with, I'm sorry. Jenny and I have worked on it. We're pretty much in agreement, not 100% on the service side of it. Jenny met with Mary Ann and Tammy so that Mary Ann could have a better understanding of the different line items and what they get used for.
And how the funds.
I have not had a chance to sit down with Jenny to go over the chief's budget yet, but we will probably be doing first reading at the April meeting. And then we will have a workshop, so everybody will get a copy of it and we can agree with it, tear it apart, whatever. We have till June to approve it and get it to the county by the first part of July.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, and so the employees recording time could be a liability issue, first of all, if we don't have them clocking in and out. Everywhere I've worked, that's always been an issue, making sure people clock out at the end of the day, so they're not covered, you know, on your insurance when you get in a car accident on the way home. Do you guys want to discuss this at all?
What are they doing now?
Nothing.
Well, just my thought is, I mean, if there's hourly employees, there should be some way of tracking the time that they're there.
Right. I mean, like, I'm an hourly employee. I have a camera on me every time I come in. Every time I leave, there's something there. You know. So, but down at the service garage, there is nothing. It's all on honor, you know, and you would hope that they would all be honorable. And I'm not saying that they're not. But like Matt said, hourly people, I mean, any people, you want to make sure that they're there when they are going to be. And I know the company I used to work for, a gentleman didn't clock out and somebody hit him in the parking lot, and he was able to sue the company because he hadn't clocked out. He got money from the company because he hadn't clocked out. And you know, it's also a liability issue. So.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So what are your thoughts?
I'll think on some creative ways to tackle this. How's that?
I know that time clock is the
hot word.
the hot word, but
Yeah, time clock's a hot word. You know, nobody likes, you know, people looking over them and stuff like that. I get that. It's like my job. I have to log like everything I do every minute of my day.
so do I.
Yeah.
I have to log in on a computer every job I do.
Yeah, and how much time it took and all that, and it becomes tedious. And it's like my job is data entry, you know, versus what I'm actually supposed to be doing. But no, there should be some way to do that, like, you know, some way that isn't.
Well, and you have to make sure that, you know, where I worked before, people were clocking in for each other. So you have to make sure you can not have that happen. Or so they tried the thumb thing. That's never going to work for a service department because your hands are going to be dirty and messy and whatever. The thumbprint doesn't work. All that stuff doesn't work. So Matt, use your creative thinking. And
well, Dave got a computer down there, right? I mean, Dave has a computer down there.
Yes, but how are you going to not log in for somebody else?
Modern problems require modern solutions.
Right. So, I mean, we nothing we have to do today or tomorrow. We just start thinking about it. Maybe next month
Okay.
we can talk about it again. I know the chief had a couple ideas or an idea here or there. That we don't, I mean, the two departments, the police and the service, I mean, somebody was saying, oh, what is, maybe they have to be together. No, they don't. The police department already has a different way of doing things when it comes to tracking time. So we're not together now. We don't have to be together, whatever we do.
Right.
So, yeah, that was all I had on my list. Sorry I took so much time.
That's
Oh,
okay.
that's great.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Moving on. Canada Road. Canada Road repairs. We decided to do 1,600 feet. Did we get a quote, Linda?
Todd is working on that. He hasn't got the asphalt numbers in yet.
Okay.
He was hoping to get that today, but I haven't heard back from him.
Okay. Discuss advertising for applications for service workers. Still advertising?
I have an interview on Thursday with somebody.
Oh, okay. Good luck with that.
Oh, there is something I forgot. There is something I forgot.
Whoop, you
Our
forgot.
can you guys hear me?
Yeah, now, but okay, there you are.
Okay. Liz and Paul are part-time employees that have to be home right now. And the COVID pay expired. And I would like to be able to pay them during their time off. And I think I have to get council's approval. I have to go back. It's supposed to be for part-time employees. There's a calculation where you go back 6 months and you average how many hours they are per week. Well, neither one of them has been here 6 months yet. So I'd have to go average that. The auditor has all that paperwork. So I could not get it from Jenny. So I don't have the numbers to give to you tonight. But that has to go, I believe, above to council, moved up to council to approve that. So we can pay COVID pay. Is that correct, Michelle?
Sorry, I'm muted. Yeah, because it's not, it's an optional thing for us to do at this time because they're part-time and there's no mandated pay, so council would have to approve it.
Okay.
Liz works 32 hours. When I sent her home, she asked if she was gonna get paid. I had asked somebody, as with me, I had a thought yes, because before they got paid, I didn't realize that it had expired. And she mentioned good because she couldn't afford to miss 32 hours worth of work. So I think it would be good.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, I do too.
Gotta pay our employees. Then there's the chance of our new COVID relief fund being backdated to cover that potentially.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Like,
Michelle, does that sound logical? We could use that relief fund to cover those payments. I mean, if we paid it out of our own pocket right now, we could reimburse ourselves.
I think Jenny can reallocate the funds when we get that check, yeah.
Okay.
Because we were able to do that the last time we had COVID money, we were able to kind of switch it around even after the fact. So it should be okay. And that's going to be a sizable chunk to cover that shortfall.
Sure. Okay. Okay. Well, that
Do
makes
we
me,
need a motion then?
I would say if you're going to recommend it to council by motion would be great.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All ayes. We will take that to council. Good catch, Mary Ann.
thanks, Michelle. I had thought I had called her about it and I forgot, so she reminded me to say it at the meeting.
Okay, so Tad's working on the asphalt. You have a meeting on Thursday. Booker Park Phase 2 still needs completed. Do we have a plan?
The seesaw is in, the swings are in, the brackets to put the swings up are in. I need laborers.
Okay,
Nobody there right now, so.
right. Okay, all right. Phase 3's been approved. Wow. All right, and then Phil said that the DMRC is gonna kick in 22,000. Is that what I saw or heard?
Yes, and
Yeah.
Brian Rogers already called me this afternoon and giving me a heads up on a few things. I'll be tracking the prevailing wage on that, I guess.
All right. Anybody have any questions about either one of those? Matt or Heather?
No,
Okay.
No, sir.
Old business, legislation for trash and recycle, bids for trash and recycle. I think we've handled that, have we not? Did we not do that last?
It's already before council. We had first
Yeah.
reading last month.
Yeah, so we can scratch that one. The Ohio Edison agreement, we might as well put that on hold until Phil talks to their lawyer or Linda can talk to a trustee from Rootstown.
well, and now I'm thinking, I mentioned we have that Lowe's 100 Towns grant that we could apply for. Maybe we should consider applying for some posts, flag posts throughout the town for that.
You know, who brought that up last month? Or maybe that was at planning. Maybe it was John Clark brought it up that we used to have posts years ago that we would take down in the wintertime, that we had posts. There was holes in the sidewalk that we'd slip the post in every summer. to
Okay.
put the Flags on. And you know what, if they're really going to give us a hard time, maybe that's something we should really think about.
Yeah.
The post for the flags and the flower pots, because without having plants down there.
I think we should. I really do.
It's
Yeah.
gonna look so barren
Mhm.
without having the hanging pots, and the flags. But maybe that's something we need to really look into if we can't work out a deal or can't work out something with Edison,
That Lowe's grant is due coming up.
Yeah, April 19th. That's pretty quick.
Were you looking at that, Marianne?
Heather had sent it. I read it. I've been very busy the last 2 weeks and 2 days.
Yes, you have.
I was looking at it for the only thing I could come up with was something for the soapbox derby, because they want something that is heartfelt. I forget the wording they used. So I thought, soapbox derby, but I couldn't think. My brain was going too many different directions to try and think about anything. But Heather came up with a good idea about something else.
Yeah, I was thinking of the barn quilts, because there's a barn quilt tour in America, and Portage County is not on the barn quilt map. So maybe we should try to put Portage County on the map and have some decorative barn quilts, workshops, and use that grant money to have the workshops create the barn quilts and have, our tour. And you can customize these quilt patterns so that you can incorporate a bit of history. We're the first to grow wheat in the county. So, it'd be neat to see some bits of that put on the designs, like the potatoes and other things that we have here. And we could open it up to a continuation of workshops in the future to, all the residents. And they're doing all different sizes with these barn quilts. They're putting them on in the yard. They're putting them on the barns. They're putting them on houses. They're 4x4, 6x6, 2x2. They've even got the long planks that people are putting in front of their beside their front door that they stencil welcome. Well, now they're doing three or four quilt blocks on those. So it's really opening up to options.
I just wanted to say, when we think about this, it is a grant and it's going to be great, but I don't want it to be a project that's going to create another project for a service to maintain.
Right.
Another dollar amount that we're going to have to pay and put in our budget to maintain. And so we have to be really careful of something like,
And also
Yeah.
their grant requires that it gets done before the end of the year and sometime in the fall. So it has to be something that is doable this year.
Yeah, it has to be done by October.
Right.
Yeah.
Mayor, do you have any input on?
I'm sorry, I had to take a call from Todd Lamb.
We were just talking about the barn quilt idea for the
Yeah, no,
grant.
I heard that part.
Yeah.
I before you started talking about the barn quilt, I missed about 10 minutes while I was on the phone with Todd.
Was talking about the removable flag poles and plant hanger poles that your husband was talking about at planning last month, that we used to have poles.
Yes, yeah, if you walk down the sidewalk, you should still be able to see if
You can.
you look,
can
there's
the
old
plates.
rings where they were the regular size height,
Yep.
long poles that the businesses used to carry their flags out every morning.
Are they closer to the street? Would that be a safety
They're
issue
they're
now?
right on the curb.
On the curb,
I
yeah.
wonder if that would be a safety issue now, a new regulation or something.
I mean, I think I don't want to create issues for the DMRC. This is a big liability if something were to happen. I mean, it would have to be probably a freak accident, but still. Maybe I still think maybe if we can ask the businesses to put the brackets for the hanging baskets on their buildings. I don't know if they'd stick out too far or if it would create an issue. I don't know.
I think it's too soon to act on alternatives. I think we still have some options here.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I think if worst case scenario, we go a year, we'll figure it out. I mean, I had the same vision about, a cylinder in the ground with it's, anchored with concrete that you slide a pole in or something,
Yeah.
But I think it's too early to act. I think we should, exhaust all our options
Yeah.
with signing the agreement before we
Well,
look
sure.
at.
Dave
Okay.
had suggested him building wooden flower boxes to put on the corners. If our sidewalks were a little wider, I'd say, okay. I just don't know. Those baskets are pretty big around.
Right.
And you'd hate to throw the weekender baskets away. It's all right to take the chains off and set them in something, but
Right.
I don't know. And then somebody said, well, let's use our old concrete trash cans and convert those into flower pots and then just replace everything, the trash cans with the DMRC recycle ones that they've been putting up. And that's another issue. It's not an issue, but it's something to talk about because the DMRC is purchasing ash cans for in front of businesses. And they've also started ordering more of those black trash and recycle cans like they have in the mini park. One of the service workers asked us a couple weeks ago, do we empty the one that's on the green on Benner's property? And I said, no, that's on private property. We only maintain trash cans that are on public property, not private property. So we're going to have to watch that. I mean, if
Right.
Well, and there's a trash can at the mini park that Restoration 44 is in charge of emptying in. And in the summertime, that is a huge bee problem because it's not emptied as often as it should be.
It's really not a coffee shop problem. It's on public property. We have asked them to keep an eye on it, and we are supposed to also be checking it too between the
Well,
two. If our guys are out there every morning,
yeah, we
spraying-
have some that how I thought it was is that we had some that we do empty a lot, but I thought there was one there that we
the
don't.
round concrete ones, if they get full before Fridays, then we empty those.
Right.
Other than that, Kimball picks up 8 of our concrete ones on Main Street, but they do not pick up the ones that DMRC have purchased.
Okay.
So since our guys are still, because of COVID, supposed to be spraying the mini park every morning to sanitize it, I don't see where an issue is if you're there, why you can't grab the bags and put new ones in.
Right.
Okay.
Good point. Good point.
I mean, once the COVID's gone, then we'll have to readdress it. Maybe our guys will be trained at that time just to stop when they're driving by. When they're
Okay.
watering the plants, grab them, if we have plants.
If we have plans, right. Okay, so I guess Matt is going to be the voice of reason, and we're going to let this play out for a while before we jump to any conclusion.
Well,
Yeah.
I have not,
Do
I've
anything
not
rash.
canceled, yeah, I have not canceled the order with Urban for the hanging baskets. We have not taken the hanging baskets to them, correct, Mary Ann?
Hanging baskets have not gone there, no, but the urns in the other
Because
half.
I didn't see them at the service garage. But they were supposed to take the urns up. Let's hope they took the urns up.
They did take, well, they said they were taking the urns up and they said they were taking the 26 urns and then the 2 rectangle urns. That's
Okay,
what was agreed upon, so.
How about the halves for the bridge?
oh, we could still put those on the bridge. We could still do those ones.
Yeah,
We'll have to cost those out.
yeah. I mean, Dave made the hangers for those, right? He knows
Yes,
how those go on. So,
I really did forget about those, Scott, because I considered those part of the hanging basket price, but
right, right. Okay. Okay. Anything else? Anything else anybody wants to talk about?
did we ever get past the Mary Ann's report?
Funny.
That's brutal. That was a good.
On Canada Road, 1,600 feet or close, as close to 1,600 feet, keeping it under 40 or $50,000. Todd is out there measuring tonight. That's what he was calling me about. He should be getting asphalt pricing tomorrow. He's also looking at an issue that we have at the park. He's going to contact me to tell me what it's going to take to rectify that problem. He would not be able to start it till Monday. And I said, well, hopefully we'll have 2 employees back at that time that they can assist him as much as possible.
Okay.
So we have that. I want Mary Ann to ask Service to okay her advertising for service workers again, so that we can compile a list of hopefully having people that would be interested if we have a spot become available.
Okay.
Please do.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Keep going.
No.
Okay, Booker Park Phase 2. You've told them about Booker Park Phase 2, the status of where we're at.
Yes.
Okay. Booker Park Phase 3. At this point, I told Rich, I said, yes, we've been approved. I have not asked DMRC for their match on it yet. I want to get Phase 2 behind us before I even move forward on Phase 3. I mean, we have kind of a basic design, but we need to go over it better. I'm still hoping that we're going to get the
paddle-in grant.
the paneling grant, but that's a lot of money to take out of our general fund. We got to make sure that when we get ready to ask Jenny to certify this, to do it, that we are gonna get it done. We can't have a grant go on like phase 2 has become just a nightmare,
Right.
so.
Okay.
God, I had something else in my head too, but I can't remember what it was now.
So do you think Todd's going to have a quote before council?
Yes.
Okay.
And when he comes up with this quote for the project at the park, if it's over $3,000, then I am going to have the chair of finance and myself sign it to get that project done.
Okay. I think that has to happen. Yeah. Okay.
And I'm
Well, it
sorry,
would be-
I know I had something else, but I can't remember what it was.
Is it your capital planning document?
Well, Rich sent that to me to update that. We have to decide if, do you guys want to apply for an OPWC for West Franklin Street, starting at the dead end and going possibly down as far as Elm Street, replacing any storm sewers or repairing any storm sewers and paving that. I did reach out to Tia at the county to ask her about any water lines or sanitary lines that might need replaced there. Would they want to do a joint application, I guess it would be? Is that what you would call it, Jean? For them to do their water lines?
Yeah, that would be a fantastic idea, because that's kind of one of the things that are coming up right now with that West Prospect. You know, they're asking like, "Hey, can we do a sanitary sewer or a manhole?" We're like, it's like we're about to pave. So yeah, it'd be nice to get them on board
I
prior.
mean, if they want to add that in and Woodward, the catch basin, because I know that she really wants a catch basin there in the end. If they want to come up with the money to do it and pay him while they're
Mhm.
there, mobilized, I will try and talk to her again about it tomorrow, because she said she didn't have time before we had our pre-con meeting with that. Naturally, we all know how overwhelmed she's been with all the things that are going on, so.
Mhm.
Oh, I know the two things that I have to talk to you about. We may have one of our business owners coming to council to petition us to give them assistance. The surcharge that they received on their water bill was, their minimum was basically what ours would be. You know, the $28.80 and the $40 for their water and sewer. But then the surcharge on top of that was well over $400 because of the green book, because it's calculated on units. So they have a right to petition council to go to the commissioners to ask them to relook at that.
Who?
So that's number one. While we've been sitting here, my phone has been blowing up. I don't know why people don't send something to my email instead of my personal phone. And it's quite lengthy, so I apologize. It says, Linda, how do we get to the bottom? How do we get to the bottom of this? The county saying you guys agreed that we would get billed according to who owns the deeds, not who owns the individual meters at their individual addresses. That was mandated by the village council. When we built Main Street Place, plus they sent us $3,000 worth of backdated bills that the tenants said we don't have to pay. They never billed us. I talked to Ted, I think he means Ted Bixler, and he said that everybody was supposed to be billed per meter, per individual meter. please leave me the right direction. Do I need to get legal counsel? This is totally wrong. In retrospect, if this is something and counsel didn't agree with, isn't it our legal counsel? Shouldn't our legal counsel be protecting us? I will try and, I know it didn't make any sense, but it's in a bunch of different emails. I will try and screenshot it so that Michelle has it to review, because people are not happy with the green book surcharge, where everybody said, if you have an apartment that has 2 bedrooms, then you pay a little more on your surcharge and those kind of things. Maybe Michelle can explain the green book analogy better than I can.
The equivalent surcharge unit is what the surcharge is based on. So the county has a list of all sorts of functions of premises, and each type of premise counts as so many surcharge units based on, I don't know, studies that go way back to how much water those types of premises are supposed to use. So like restaurants get a percentage or a fraction of a surcharge unit per table or whatever. That's just a short version. Like a apartment in a multi-unit gets like 2/3 of a surcharge unit for a 1-bedroom apartment or whatever. So then the county went all around and evaluated each of the commercial establishments to what their surcharge should be. That's what the village agreed to, and that's how they calculated what these surcharges were going to be. There is a provision that it can be reevaluated if somebody thinks that they're being treated unfairly, but it's their standard book and they're going to be continuing to use that book. They use it for all their customers in the entire district. I'm not sure. You're going to have to help me understand what that is tomorrow, Linda. We don't have to do that right now.
Well, I just wanted to let them know, so in case people are out there watching, that I was approached by one that he asked me the procedure for doing a petition. Then all of a sudden this one starts coming across my phone when it should have been put in an email to me in my office, not my personal cell phone. So. I mean, anytime he usually does send me something on my email, I respond from my email in the office. So I will try and figure out how to snapshot these or whatever you call it to send them to everybody's email.
Yeah, cool.
It takes me a while to figure them out.
Yeah. But the person that just sent you the text is not the person that's going to come before council in a couple weeks.
No,
Two different people.
it's a totally different person.
Okay. Yeah, cool. No, cool. Yeah, no, we'll listen. And who knows? There's a chance they may have been improperly assessed. Who knows?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And just so everybody aware, we still have 90 some meters that have not been installed. They sent me a list today. Some of the people have never responded. 54 have never responded to any of their letters or anything. So they're going to be getting certified letters telling them how it's going to be so we can get this done and behind us. And then there is still ones that have issues with the installation. I can't remember. There might have been, well, if there were 54, so that means there was almost 40 where they still don't, one of them, they're waiting for a 2-inch meter and different things. I asked them to send me a list today with the names, and I was a little shocked at some of the people that have not responded to have their meter installed.
Wow.
So,
Okay. Well, maybe if they get an estimated bill, they might change their mind.
could be. I don't know.
I mean, this is something we've been working on for a long time before COVID hit, and it's just been sitting stagnant. So, I mean,
Yeah.
we got to get this done.
I was going to have Mary Ann tomorrow calculate what this one business, what they were paying the village prior to this to see what the difference is, because I thought our sewer charges was a lot higher. Our rates were running a lot higher, so I would like to see the difference between a bill that's roughly $500 from the county right now, what it was to us.
Right. Okay.
But I understand, everybody was invited to the meetings. We were right there to share the information. They could
Right.
ask any questions. So.
Okay.
Don't know what to say.
Well, I think you should start with that. I think that was start with Mary Ann pulling the numbers from the village and start there.
So do you guys want Jean to start working on something for West Franklin Street?
I would say that that's probably a better move than anywhere else in the village.
Well, we're going to end up getting, we'll have the west side of Prospect done. If we can get the west side, part of because Franklin from Elm Street down to Main Street, it's not great, but it's not that bad.
Right.
I don't know how many storm sewers are in that section of it. I know that there are some. I know that Dave has replaced some in the past. So Jean, if you want to start talking to whoever you talk to, and
Well, what's the consensus, guys? I mean,
Yeah,
that
I
was
think you should. Yeah. I'm in support.
Matt.
Yeah, I'm in support of that. OPWC funding.
that's what it would be. So it would be with the COVID, it's hard to say. It's still going to be due the end of May. We normally find out by August if we got it or not. Could be with going with the county, and we'll have to work with Tia or her people to see, exactly what they want to do.
Yeah, sure.
Whether we're on our own or we're going with them,
Yeah.
Right.
Here's me trying to sound like I know what I'm talking about. Does that fall under the LTIP program?
Don't be looking at me.
LTIP,
I don't.
Yeah.
yes, LTIP.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. Yeah. No, I'm on board. Let's go.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, Gene, you have your marching orders.
Well, let's make a motion that we're going to have him work on this, and we'll bring it before council.
I will make that motion.
And I will second.
All in favor? All
Aye.
ayes?
Is there anything else that you guys should have made a motion on while I was on the phone that I missed?
I think they got everything.
Yep, we
Okay.
got it all.
While nobody's talking, Harry Bookert sent a couple of messages and he wanted to thank everybody for their continued effort to look for alternatives for the flag. And that for the flags. And he agreed that the time capsule was 1998.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's like 1898. I
He
think it's looking
remembers
pretty good then.
So,
Okay.
Okay, kids, I want to go eat my wedding dinner.
Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I got one more quick question. I remember what I blanked on before, Mary Ann.
Okay.
I remember because it's such a crazy word. That's not just part of my everyday vocabulary. It's graffiti. They removed graffiti. You said, was that like
Yes.
spray paint graffiti?
Well, there was spray paint graffiti on a bridge that had a racist slur on it. But on the picnic tables, it was carved in, and it was also with magic markers. So it had to be sanded. It was actually very time consuming to get rid of it. The pavilion where these picnic tables is the pavilion closest to Mantua. Is where the most of the graffiti was, but we're having a problem with littering and graffiti, and we've been checking all of our lights to make sure our lights are on. It's something that we have to address.
Yeah, we have a problem with littering for sure. Yeah, so I always keep a keen ear out when I hear of littering, graffiti, stuff like that. I always I'm concerned about that and trying to get to the bottom of it. But okay, cool. How long was the spray paint there before it got removed? Was it there for a while, or is something you just discovered? Or?
No, Harry Booker found it walking in the morning. He emailed Dave. Dave got it at 6:30. Vern was out there by 7, trying to get rid of it.
Good. So it couldn't have been long. If Harry walked the same place, he would see it the day before. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'll say this, maybe I'll save a speech for another time, but if anybody sees anybody littering about anything, if you see something, say something. Okay. I got more of a story here, but I saw something, and at the time I couldn't say anything. And I'll tell the story some other time, but it made my blood boil when I saw it, and I couldn't do anything. Yeah, so we have a littering problem. Does everybody keep track? Yeah.
Well, the
Okay.
big thing is the boys, the young people at the park. We have 2 trash cans right down there by the basketball courts, and they just leave their bottles laying on the bleachers there, and then they roll underneath the bleachers, and we even have a sign posted about it. But
Yeah, sure. Well, just really quick, the incident that I saw, I won't tell the whole story, but it was a car stopping in the middle of High Street, window down, arm out the window with like the big styrofoam cup, like from Dairy Mart, dropped it right in the ground and kept on going. It's like they stopped just to drop the foam cup in the middle of the road and then went going and kept on going. Oh, made me mad.
did you get their license number?
No, I didn't. I couldn't. It was a black 2003, 2005 CRV, Honda CRV.
From the village?
I don't know.
Keep your eyes peeled.
Probably.
Keep your eyes peeled.
A couple of high school age kids, so probably.
Mom and dad gets a $250.
That's right. That's right. Well, it's like when I was a kid, like you turn on the TV and it was always commercials about littering, like don't litter. And I'm like I didn't realize that there was such a problem with littering in this country. This is back in the 80s, but like my mom told me, she's like, oh yeah, in the 70s, it was everywhere.
Oh, it was bad. It was everywhere. The freeways were covered.
Yeah. And so I don't want it to be like that again. So I don't know if we have to like do some littering awareness program in the village here or something. I don't know.
You know what? You know what, Matt? One of the things I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I find that sometimes it's not people actually littering. It's actually the dump trucks, garbage trucks. You know, like they come by my street and they got the big thing out front and they put the thing in Zoom and it puts it in. But then when they take, like after 10 of them are filled the little thing and it takes it up and over and it dumps. And if people put loose stuff in there, like not in an actual bag in the garbage can, so it's just, you know how you stick sometimes loose things in a garbage bag or something?
Yeah.
You'll see it go fly over. And I'm just like, really? And then they just go driving down. Or if it's still open, you see them drive down the road and sometimes you just see the stuff floating out.
Yeah.
We were having an issue with Kimball with that, and a couple phone calls to the right people at Kimball. They generally make sure that has shaken out before they take off. I'm not going to say it doesn't happen occasionally, but I used to be. You're right. I have followed dump trucks or trash trucks down 480 or 422. I'm sorry, and it's just blowing by me.
Yeah.
Okay, kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Good
Good night.
Or did you make your motion to adjourn?
No.
I will make
I
the
ruined
motion.
that. I ruined that.
Matt, are you going to second it?
I'll second that.
Okay, there you go, Mary Ann.
And Heather's gone already, so you still
Aye.
have quorum.
The ayes have it.
The ayes have it.
Good night.
All right, good night,
Gotta do it.
everyone.
I'm not here to remind you what to do.